I'm Brad Coleman. I'm the campus pastor at Christ Church Highland Park. And I'm here again to talk a little bit about some of the things that I have been struck with as we've been studying the book of Daniel. And one of those things is how Daniel, time and time again, distinguishes himself from those who are around him. How his life stood out from the lives that were around him. We see this almost in every chapter. There's a phrase that was used repeatedly. He was shown to possess an extraordinary spirit, or another way that they would put it is that in their understanding of their pagan world, they would say a spirit of the gods lives in him, resides in him, right? And in fact, in chapter 1, King Nebuchadnezzar says of Daniel and his three friends that they're 10 times better than anyone else under the king's rule. A key passage in chapter 6, verse 16, King Darius says to Daniel, who's been thrown in the lion's den, "May your God, whom you continually serve, rescue you." And he repeats it in chapter 6, verse 20. When he comes to check on Daniel in the lion's den, he says, "Has your God, whom you continually serve, saved you from the mouth of the lions?" You see, Darius saw something in Daniel. He observed something in Daniel. And it wasn't Daniel's job to preach to Darius. Daniel's job was to serve in the kingdom, just to serve Darius. But there was a message in that. In the faithfulness, in the way that Daniel served, there was a message given to Darius. And Darius said, "Clearly, you are continually serving your God." Now, I had an experience when I was in college. I was getting ready to go to college. I was a high school student, and I had partied a little bit in high school. And I remember having this thought: when I get to college, things are going to be different. I'm done with this. It's stupid. I'm just following the crowd. I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. But when I get to college, we're going to have deep discussions. We're going to talk about philosophy and religion, and we're going to talk about current events and politics. I just got to college, and it was way worse than high school, and I just fell right back into it. But there were these two guys in the art department, and they lived differently than everybody who was around them. Their lives stood out. Their names were Chuck and Rich. They were not following the crowd. They were doing what I thought I was going to be able to do when I got to college. They were not partying. They were just following the crowd. And yet they were fun-loving and funny. I was an art major. They were excellent artists. And they were encouraging to other art students. They weren't competitive like all the other art students. And I just wanted to be around them. It wasn't long that I understood that the reason they were the way that they were is because they were Christians. The reason they were the way that they were is because they were followers of Christ, but it was a different kind of Christian than I had ever seen in my life. Their lives stood out to me. It was winsome and attractive, and it made me want to be like them. This is one of the things that I've noticed in Daniel. His life stood out. There was something winsome and attractive in Daniel because he lived free and confident with this security that others recognized. Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Darius, all of these kings recognized it in Daniel. May we live differently than those who are around us. May we not be caught up in following the culture, but may we live lives that are uniquely free, securely confident, winsome, and attractive, with the life of Jesus emanating from us. Amen.